Hey everyone, it's Brett Hornby here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Well, this is my second of 4 NHL jersey ranking video that I'm going to do. If you could see right about here, I did my video ranking all NHL home jerseys for the upcoming 2020-21 season. Well, now in this video, we're going to look at jerseys that kind of get overlooked, as we're going to look at the away jerseys now for all 31 teams for the upcoming season for 2020-21. And just like, my home jersey list, it wound up being quite a task to rank all the jerseys from my least favorite to most favorite, from 31 to 1. As you know, most jerseys, you're some you like and some you're different about, but then you get that group in the middle. I think this one was the most difficult because it's all white jerseys, but there are some teams that I have found that I actually do like their white jerseys a lot more than the home jerseys, so that's something you can maybe follow along on, what jerseys I like a lot more when it comes to the away. And then the other 2 jersey ranking videos that I plan to do is then after the away, I'll do the reverse retros and then the alternate jerseys. So that's what I'll get my 4 ranking video list. So as I say, if you want to follow along this Calgary sports fan's journey, just make sure you like, subscribe. That's what I mostly do on my YouTube channel, is talk Calgary sports. If you're new, and if you're returning, well, welcome back, and hopefully you enjoyed my home ranking video. But now it's time to look at the away. And there's just one note before I get into the list. I did originally plan to do this using the Davinci Resolve video editing software. I mean, it looks like a much better video editing software than Windows Movie Maker. But then those graphics that I used, that I got for these jersey ranking videos, for some reason it didn't show up. And then the solutions I found online, they said it was like a 2-second solution, but it never worked. So I'm going to have to do what I did on the home for the other ones, just to keep everything consistent. So anyway, let's get to the list, and we'll start off looking at all 31 jerseys. As most of the white jerseys were kind of in that same group, but there are some teams that I felt I liked their whites a lot better. So let's get the list started, shall we? Well, number 31, well, I actually give that to the Tampa Bay Lightning. After the Tampa Bay Lightning started off this for my away jersey ranking, I mean, it comes back to, with the Tampa Bay Lightning, that I didn't like this new rebrand as much that they've done, where they stripped down the Lightning logo. They pretty much just been blue and white. I mean, the jerseys that the Tampa Bay Lightning used to wear, I think, were a lot better than what they wear now. But the white definitely looks really, really clean. I mean, they did recently win the Stanley Cup in it. And then I go back to what I mentioned in the home jersey, that it looks a lot like they ripped off the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Detroit Red Wings at the same time. But like I say, Tampa Bay, I would like to see put the black in your jerseys and bring back that logo that you had when they first came into the NHL. So that's what I have at number 31. So going to move up from here. I mean, as I say, none of these jerseys I would say are notoriously, legendarily ugly, that I put in the ugliest of all time, but I have to make the list somehow. So that's number 31. So number 30, well, I have to put the Nashville Predators. It's still that marigold. It's not as painful to look on the aways because it's white, but Nashville emphasizes the marigold way too much, and I also said that in the home jersey ranking. But I like the blue that Nashville has worn in the past, as well as the silver that they used to have. But I still got to put Nashville down towards the bottom, because it's overpowering with the main color that they emphasize. I mean, the logo is all right. And I think they cleaned up the logo a little more, because they used to have like a triangle when it first came in, and I think it used to have Nashville on it. But Nashville when they like their yellow way too much. That's why I have it at number 30. Well, number 29, I still have Anaheim closer towards the bottom, and actually I think, yeah, on my home list I had them at 31, but Anaheim's whites are slightly better. But when Anaheim rebranded away from the original Mighty Ducks look, that I think is a lot better than what they have now, with, you know, they emphasize a lot of orange putting in their jerseys because of being in Orange County. But I miss the original Mighty Duck logo and the Mighty Duck colors, and I just never really liked that new rebrand that they have, and that logo still looks a little too ducky, no pun intended. But you know, Anaheim, I like their white slightly more, but it's still closer towards the bottom of the list, so that's number 29. So number 28, well, I actually brought Carolina down closer to the bottom, as I do like their home jerseys a lot more, but the couple things that kind of pull off is that sometimes I find when it comes to jerseys that the word mark, I think if they had the logo instead of the word mark for Carolina's road jersey, it would have been a lot higher on the list. And then there seemed to be, I mean, the alternate logo for the shoulders is fine, you know, with the two warning flags and the hockey stick, and I know some people seem to like that as the logo. I like the primary puck Hurricane logo that they have, but that's what's missing on the Carolina Hurricanes white jersey, which is why I have it down in this category on my list. So that's number 28. Number 27, I give it to the Arizona Coyotes, and I mean it's mostly a white jersey, and you know they have more black instead of the, you know, dark burgundy. I'd almost think if maybe they inverse that, I think it might look a little better. But now we're getting to the part of the list where you're going into this big clump where everyone is kind of the same, since we're all talking about white jerseys. But I know when it comes to Arizona, as time goes on, I definitely like the Kachina look a lot more. But I mean, this is what I have for Arizona. It's an alright look, but I do like their Kachina look a little more, and I think I did have the home a little higher on my home ranking video, but that's where I have Arizona. So number 26, well, I give this to the Vancouver Canucks. I mean, it's in that clump right now, but I mean, just how the blue and the green looks a lot on the jersey, which is their primary colors. And I know the Orca logo pops a lot more being on a white jersey, but I mean, it's just how it looks all together. I mean, I think the one layer of numbers and letters look a little plain, but I think that kind of brings back that retro look. And you know, now that with a lot of the road jerseys kind of being 85% of it, I would say, is kind of in that same category. I just had to rank it all together. I do think this is the best look the Vancouver Canucks have had in their franchise history, but that's where I have the Vancouver Canucks at number 26. Just I think if they would have maybe made the letters, the numbers pop a little more, but that's just my opinion. I mean, everything else looks alright with how they have the green and the blue striping, but you know, all the white jerseys are kind of almost in the same category when we're talking about away jerseys. So number 25, I have to give this to the Colorado Avalanche, and I think why I put Colorado in 25 is that we're kind of missing some of the blue that you see on the home jersey. I mean, you kind of got the white and kind of that, you know, purple burgundy, but I think I would have liked a little more blue on the Colorado Avalanche white jersey. And I mean, the fonts and the numbers is what it is, and you know, it's always still that nice C that they have for the Colorado for their shoulder patch. I know they used to have that Bigfoot logo, but I think that C shows more for the state of Colorado in my mind. So that's what I have for the Colorado Avalanche at number 25 for away jerseys. So number 24, I actually do have the Los Angeles Kings, and as I kind of say with the home jersey, it just looks very plain just with the logo and the black and silver. I think the black and silver is the best look for the Los Angeles Kings overall, but we're just missing that, Gretzky era logo, and I think those jerseys were a lot better that the Los Angeles Kings wore. I mean, this kind of merges in that they have the crown in LA, but it just looks too plain and gets away from what the best look that they had. I know that the Los Angeles Kings, when they won their 2 Stanley Cups in 3 years with this jersey, and it's probably going to keep it a little longer for the Los Angeles Kings fan base, but this looks very plain and mad that I have to put it kind of on the bottom half of the list. So that's what I have for number 24. So 23, I have it for the Pittsburgh Penguins, and I know I'm glad that the Pittsburgh Penguins overall, when they went back to their black and gold, what they had when they wore it in the early 1990s, where they won their back-to-back Stanley Cups with Marley Mio and Jaromir Jagr, and that's what those jerseys remind me of. But I know when it comes to the Pittsburgh Penguins, I know their primary colors of Pittsburgh, if you figure out, is black and gold for all their teams when you look at the Steelers and the Pirates as well. But I do like the baby blue that the Pittsburgh Penguins originally had and they occasionally wear. But it's an alright road jerseys that the Pittsburgh Penguins have, and I think for their black and gold look, this is their best look that they've had, and winning some championships in the past, and currently with their current era with Sidney Crosby and Vinny Malkin, would keep that look going on much longer. So that's what I have at number 23. So number 22, I give this to the Washington Capitals, and I think it's an alright look how Washington came back and sort of modernized their original logo with the Capitals stick and the stars and the red and blue, and I think those are the best colors that I prefer that the Washington Capitals have worn, with the colors of the capital of the U.S. I mean, how it looks on the road, it's kind of, I think, around the same that I have for the aways or the home jerseys, the Reds, but ultimately those are the jerseys that the Washington Capitals won when they won their only Stanley Cup with Alexander Ovechkin. But it's an alright look, just to bring back the kind of modernize the original logo after they went to the Screaming Eagle, and I'd say the shoulder patch with the eagle and the Capitol building outline also looks nice for the Washington Capitals jersey. But I have them at 22 when it comes to looking at all the aways, but I say at this stage it's kind of all sort of the same until we get closer to the top. So number 21, I give this to the New York Islanders, and this looks almost exactly what the New York Islanders wore in the early 1980s, where they won their 4 straight Stanley Cups. It's a nice classic look, the blue and orange. It just looks nice, and I think the reason why I still put the New York Islanders closer towards the bottom half of the list is that the New York Islanders, they've experimented with too many jerseys over the years, and you kind of miss that classic Islanders logo. But there's just also a lot of better jerseys in the NHL since then. But this is always a nice classic look that the New York Islanders should just stick with, because they've experimented too much, and more often than not, it hasn't looked as pretty, if you know what I mean, especially with some rebrands and some alternate jerseys. So New York Islanders, I have them at number 21. Well, number 20, I have the Columbus Blue Jackets away jersey, and This is a case for one of the teams that I had ranked lower on the home list that actually liked their whites a lot better. I think everything pops a lot more with the Columbus Blue Jackets when it comes to their away jersey, because their current logo with the star and the, that flying Ohio State flag, and then they have the cannons on the shoulder. But it's just how it looks, with the blue shoulders with the red trim. It looks a lot better in my mind on the white jersey. Just so you can see the contrast between the blue and the red. I found on the home jerseys that when it was mostly blue, I wish they would have put a little more red and white on their home jerseys. But I think this is a case where I like the road jersey better, or the away jersey for the Columbus Blue Jackets a lot more. So that's my number 20 pick. Number 19, I have the Vegas Golden Knights, and that's another team that I actually like their road jerseys a lot better than their home jerseys, just because it pops their primary colors a lot more. And that's what I find with some of the road jerseys, that their primary colors aren't as overpowering as you see on the home jersey. But I find just the mixture of, that dark, dirty gray, the gold and the red, it pops a lot more, and the Vegas logo, as well as your secondary logo, looks a lot better on the white jerseys. This is why I have the Vegas Golden Knights a little higher on my away list than I did on my home jersey list. I mean, that's what I look, and it's been a couple years for me to accept how the Vegas Golden Knights look has. I mean, this is only their 4th season in the NHL. But number 19, I have the Vegas Golden Knights away jersey. So number 18, I kind of put it in the same category with the Dallas Stars, but I think it's push, either way, which is a better look. I mean, ultimately, when it comes to the Dallas Stars, I do like their original look a little more when they moved from Minnesota that they wore, and also the jerseys that they wore for their 1999 Stanley Cup Championship. But, I mean, it's the victory green and the black and white. I mean, it looks kind of just the same either way on the aways and the homes, but it's about in the middle of the pack in my mind either way. I guess you could say the Dallas Stars logo pops a little more being on a white jersey, but I think I'm a little different either way with Dallas's look that they have rebranded to the last couple of years. I mean, it's better than when they had just Dallas on the front and then had their primary logo on the shoulders, but it's an alright look for the Dallas Stars overall. I do prefer the look that they used to wear when they moved from Minnesota and what they wore in 1999. So that's what I have for number 18. Number 17, I give it to the Philadelphia Flyers, and I do like the Philadelphia Flyers in a way, how they kind of modernized their retro look, which is kind of the same opinion that I had when I talked about the home jersey. I mean, the orange and the black definitely pops out a little more, just how it's a little swirly, and it definitely has that, retro look when the name bar, for example, they see in the jersey where it's black on the white. I know that my favorite Philadelphia Flyers look that they wore was in the late 1980s and early 1990s, when they had their Legion of Doom days, but this still works to modernize the vintage look during the Broad Street Bully days. So the Orange Crush definitely is not overpowering on the Philadelphia Flyers, and that Flying P, that's always going to be a synonymous look for the Philadelphia Flyers going forward to represent hockey in Philadelphia. So that's number 17. Number 16, well, here's another perfect example of a jersey that I like their away jersey a lot more than their home jersey, is the Edmonton Oilers. I have Edmonton right in the middle because I didn't like their home jersey as much because that orange is overpowering, but when you look at the road jersey, the away jersey, it looks like almost as classic as you can get with the Edmonton Oilers. I know that the jerseys that I remember from the 1980s and the early Battle of Alberta days, that they had a lighter blue. But this looks like a nice modernized vintage jersey that the Edmonton Oilers have worn for much of their history, and this shows a perfect example, in my opinion, that it's a good jersey that Edmonton has for a concept overall, but it was that blue that I'd miss because the orange was too overpowering on their home jersey. So there you go, Edmonton. I like your away jerseys a lot more because the concept is right, but your orange is too overpowering on your home jerseys. Bring back the blue, and I would like your home jerseys a lot more, but at least when Edmonton is in Calgary, these look a little better than when Calgary is in Edmonton with their overpowering orange jersey. So Edmonton Oilers away, I have it at number 16. Well, number 15, I have the San Jose Sharks kind of right in the middle. And the reason why I have the San Jose Sharks kind of in the middle, I think it's just I like the teal a lot more on the San Jose Sharks home jersey. I mean, I always say a badass look when you have a shark on your logo as your primary logo, and it's a classic logo that the San Jose Sharks have always had for their whole franchise history. But I think there's maybe a little too much black in the away jersey for me to want to put it a little higher, just because I like the teal a lot more with the San Jose Sharks. But they've always had a solid look for much of their jersey history, and when you have a shark as your logo, it's badass for a hockey jersey. So that's what I have for the San Jose Sharks at number 15. Well, number 14, I have the New Jersey Devils, and for the New Jersey Devils history for jerseys, I do like the black and red a lot more than the black and green, but this looks like a nice solid look that always goes back to when the New Jersey Devils won their 3 Stanley Cups, when they wore that red and black. It just looks perfectly how the logo is, and the red and black I've always find looks good together as a color combination. But I have New Jersey kind of in the middle because I don't think they've ever had a really ugly jersey overall. But it's a solid look that the Devils have had since they've moved from Colorado, and especially when they have red and black as opposed to red and green, in my opinion. Well, number 13, I give it to the Ottawa Senators, and this is a better look that I think the Ottawa Senators, I'm glad that they decide to also go full retro. And the red and black is obviously the colors that the Ottawa Senators sport, but this looks like that at least classic look that Ottawa's had, and kind of somewhat plays back to the old Ottawa Senators original hockey team. I mean, I do like this look with the 2D logo, it's called. I mean, the other jerseys that I would be fine with if the Ottawa Senators decided to go with full time was those O jerseys, where it has that O and the striping that kind of looks closer to the jerseys that the original Ottawa Senators were in the 1900s and the Shield logo. But this, I'm glad that the Ottawa Senators have gone back, and they also went full retro. I think this is the best look that this version of the Ottawa Senators have, and just how the red, black, and the gold trim, it just looks very nicely. So that's what I have at number 13. Well, number 12, well, I still like the Florida Panthers original look better a lot more with the cat logo. But this is another example where I actually find that the road jersey for the Florida Panthers looks significantly better than their current home jerseys. I mean, it's just how the contrast between that striping in the middle with the red and the little bit of gold. I mean, it's the logo that I still put the Florida a little lower, but the same look looks a lot better actually on the away, in my mind, than the home jersey. I mean, it still kind of mixes in that football and soccer look just with that logo. It looks like a soccer jersey in my mind, and then how they put the numbers right on the shoulder, and then they move down the Florida state flag and the Panther. But this is an example. I like the away jersey for some teams a lot more than their home, just because how it contrasts between the white and the primary color. Because the home jersey, it flips the color and the white, and it doesn't look. It looks a little more overpowering in my mind. But the balance just looks a lot better when it comes to the away jersey for the Florida Panthers. So number 11, before we get into the top 10, I give this to the Minnesota Wild, and it's definitely a lot different look than what the Minnesota Wild have for their home jersey, because it kind of looks like kind of a vintage sweater when jerseys were sweaters instead. But this looks like a nice breakup between the gold and the red, how they make it stand out, and the logo actually does pop a little more on the away jersey for the Minnesota Wild after I've accepted the whole branding. I mean, it sounded lame at the time when Minnesota came back into the NHL, but this is an all-around great away jersey for the Minnesota Wild. And also on the shoulder, it has that alternate with the Wild word mark and the Minnesota circle. I'd rather that stays on the shoulder instead of the primary logo that they have sometimes. Well, actually, it's the logo, but with the bear logo instead of the Wild. But I know I've seen Minnesota have had that as well. That belongs on the shoulder instead of on the front in my mind. But Minnesota's had, I think the look that they have right now is the best look that the Minnesota Wild has had since they've come back into the NHL. So we're now entering the top 10 when it comes to away jerseys. So what do I have in the top 10? Well, number 10, I have the Buffalo Sabres away jersey, and I say finally Buffalo. What took you so long to come to the conclusion that your best look is your original Buffalo with the original blue? Because I know Buffalo, for a few years, they kind of teased and had that darker blue, but just that royal blue, or that blue, shade of blue and the gold with the Buffalo and the Buffalo and the two swords logo. That is the best look that the Buffalo Sabres have had for much of their jersey history. I know they've experimented many times with a few rebrands that definitely did alright with the black and red at the Buffalo head, but then they screwed up when it came to that slug logo, as well as when they brought back that logo and had that yellow bright jersey. But Buffalo, you finally got it. You've decided that we should go full retro as well, and it's their best look and starts off at the top 10. Well, number 9, I still like the St. Louis Blues in the top 10 when it comes to their jerseys. And the reason why I like the St. Louis Blues is it's how it kind of looks. The logo looks kind of a modernized vintage, and I know it has that kind of similar style that the St. Louis Blues, what they wore, in the 1970s. That just how they mix in the dark blue and the light blue and the gold. This has been a great look that the St. Louis Blues has when they've branded to this, and obviously winning the championship with it just recently in 2019 will also probably make that a synonymous trademark look for the St. Louis Blues. But St. Louis has always had a great look most of their history, but I like this look right now that they have. And, home or away, it looks just as good either way. Well, number 8, I actually bumped Chicago down to number 8. Actually, if you look at my home ranking list, I actually had them at the top. But I still brought Chicago down a little bit just because it's still, if you look at the original 6 logos, they all look the best of the original 6. As the main consensus are that people say that of the original 6, most people do say Chicago has the best look. But for some reason, I just want to look at the Chicago Blackhawks. I mean, it's still a timeless jersey being an original 6 team. I do think that everything pops a lot more on the red home jersey than the away white jersey, but it's still a solid look, and I mean that logo and the look is timeless, and you can never go anything wrong with the Chicago Blackhawks. I wonder how it would look if they had their numbers and letters red instead of black. I don't know how that would look, but I mean Chicago, it's a timeless look, and it's a look that should not be touched with altogether, but still in the top 10 when it comes to away jerseys. Well, number 7, I actually have that for the Winnipeg Jets, and I think ever since the Winnipeg Jets got back into the NHL, they've always had a good look with their primary jersey with the Royal Canadian Air Force logo with the jet, and just how they style the striping. It has that airplane feel, and you can never go wrong with the shoulder patch logo with the Winnipeg Jets and the maple leaf. But I like the Winnipeg Jets look since they've gotten back in the NHL. I know they always wear their vintage jerseys a lot more, just to bring back the original Jets to keep that memory alive. But I actually like the Winnipeg Jets away jerseys slightly more than the home jerseys, and it's always been a top 10 look in my mind. But I actually do like the away jerseys a little more, just because everything just pops and how it contrasts a lot more. So that's what I have at number 7. Number 6, well, this is where I kind of get to the many of the original 6 teams. I always get towards the top of my list because all original 6 jerseys are timeless looks, and there's a reason why that the look hasn't changed that much. But the Toronto Maple Leafs, it's another timeless jersey. Then I actually do like the. Doesn't matter if it's home or away. I like the Toronto Maple Leafs jerseys overall. I mean, the blue logo looks very sharp on the white jersey. When they rebranded to the textured leaf, I mean, also the leaf that looks just like the maple leaf on the Canadian flag is also a great logo. But this kind of mixes in modern and vintage at the same time, and you can never go wrong with the Toronto Maple Leafs. They make the blue and white perfect, and it pops either way, no matter if it's at home or away. But hopefully, maybe one of these years, bring back that vintage logo, vintage style logo, that maybe they'll actually enjoy some championship glory. But that's what I have in the top number 6 as the original 6 team. Is their looks are timeless, and you can never really mess with the original 6 team. Well, number 5, I have to put the Boston Bruins, and just like with many original 6 teams, it don't matter if it's at home or at away. It's beautiful jersey either way, no matter if it's the color or the white. But in this case, I mean, everything just pops just as nice with the Spoke B logo, the black and gold. I mean, that's another timeless look that the Boston Bruins will always have and should never be messed with. I know they've had many iterations of the B logo, but it's timeless, and they've had a few odd jerseys that they've worn here and there, but there's a reason why they kind of go back to the Spoke B. But just how the home and away looks, just how they have the striping and the shoulder, it kind of looks like a mix of a modern and vintage at the same time. And then, with many outdoor games that the Boston Bruins have worn, they've probably almost seen all vintage jerseys possible modernized overall, but it always goes back to the Spoke B, and that's another timeless look for an original 6 team for the Boston Bruins. Well, number 4, I mean, once again, you could probably still call me biased, but I have the Calgary Flames white at number 4. I mean, once the Calgary Flames, they decide to go full retro, it makes you realize that those jerseys that the Calgary Flames have worn when they moved from Atlanta, and the concept that the Atlanta Flames came up with, was the best look in franchise history after a few jersey iterations that the Calgary Flames have had, and they introduced black. But the Flames, I've always grown up with the red and gold, and when this jersey was debuted at the 2019 Heritage Classic, I was begging that the Calgary Flames, they need to make this their road jersey full time, and now they've gone full retro, and the Flames overall, they have a top 10 look, even in the top 5, now that they've gone full retro, and this just looks as beautiful when the team first came into Calgary from Atlanta. I mean, the shoulders are a little bigger, but everything just pops a lot more with the red and gold. So maybe you can call me biased, but I have the Calgary Flames away jersey number 4. So what do I have in the top 3? Well, number 3, I give this to the New York Rangers, and the Rangers, you could say, is the only team that can really pull off the word mark perfectly, just when they have Rangers on the front. I know that a lot of fans, I heard in the 1970s, they didn't like the Shield logo as much, which is primarily the logo for the New York Rangers. But this is another timeless look for the New York Rangers. They call it the blue shirts, just how they have the shoulder and the striping. And, the blue and red, it's a perfect look for the New York Rangers. And with the many, even outdoor game jerseys that they've worn, they always incorporate that word mark, Rangers. And I don't know what it is. It's yet another look that the New York Rangers should never mess with. I know that there is a reverse retro jersey. We'll talk about that. I think it's just as nice, but we'll talk about that in that video. But New York Rangers, it's a timeless look with their blue and red, just how they compensate their shoulder, their striping, as well as the Rangers word mark. So that's why I have number 3. So what do I have at 2 and 1? Well, number 2, I give that to the Detroit Red Wings, and this is a case where actually it's the original 6 and a timeless jersey, but this is a case where I actually like the away white jersey a lot more than the home red jersey for the Detroit Red Wings. I mean, they're both great jerseys either way, but the reason why I actually like the away jersey a little more when it comes to the Detroit Red Wings, just because of the contrast, how the white and the red looks. The winged wheel logo, I think, stands out a lot more on the white jersey, but it's a nice mix of red and white for the away jersey. But and the Detroit Red Wings also, synonymous with that look. That most recently they won one of their championships in the late 1990s and the early 2000s. But once again, this is another timeless look that the Detroit Red Wings should never mess with. I mean, that winged wheel, it's been around, forever it seems like, but it has some small variations to it, but this is another timeless look that there's a reason why I have original 6 jerseys, in the top of my jersey ranking. But we'll talk about the reverse retro in another video. That I'll have different things to say about that jersey, but when it comes to their primaries, it's beautiful. So the one team I haven't mentioned yet is the Montreal Canadiens, number 1, and that's another jersey that you'll never mess with. You'll never mess with the logo, and you'll never mess with the look of the Montreal Canadiens. I'm going to say it's a beautiful, timeless classic that the Montreal Canadiens have worn. It seems like forever, going back to like the 1920s, with the C and H, and always that H does not mean Habs; it means hockey club. But other than maybe it looks wider on the earlier jerseys, but the blue and red, the Montreal Canadiens, you have to give it top marks for an away jersey, home or away. The Montreal Canadiens, it's a timeless look. It's the most storied franchise in the National Hockey League, and deserving so. I gotta give it the best away jersey. So that was my complete ranking of all 31 NHL away jerseys. I did find it a lot more difficult to actually rank them, just because they're all white jerseys, and most of them, as I mentioned, are kind of in that same clump. It's just a matter of just separating it somehow, and you make your initial list and you change things around. But that's what I feel about all 31 NHL teams away jerseys. And I actually don't find as many ranking videos on here where people don't rank their away jerseys. It's the jersey that doesn't get as much attention. And if you remember, at one time the whites used to be at home, and then they swapped back. But there is a side of me that I wouldn't mind wanting to have the whites back at home, so you can see everyone else's different colors going down the road. But that's just small minor nitpick. But yeah, this is my second jersey ranking list. What jerseys do you like when it comes to the away side? Which ones did you like the most, the least? Which ones do you think I rate too high or rated too low? I mean, it's my opinion, and everyone's got their own opinions, and that's the beauty of it. There's no right or wrong answer. And if you have a different opinion, well, make your comment or make your own video showing all 31 NHL jerseys. As I said, I've already done the homes. This is my aways. I will still have yet to come the reverse retros that I'll do next, and then I'll do the alternate jerseys. And I'm going to say those 2 lists were a little easier for me to make those lists together, just because it was a little more easier to separate the good and the bad, and then there was less indifferent in between, just like with the current homes and aways. But you know, they're all nice NHL jerseys in their own unique way all together. So as I say, if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fan's journey, home the Flames, Hitmen, Roughnecks, and Stampeders, I mostly do talk Calgary sports on my YouTube channel. I also do have personal vlogs, attempt to comedy, and I also do share my experiences. Let's say I'm on the road or at a sporting event. So if that all sounds like it'd be interesting to watch, to follow along with this Calgary sports fan's journey, you know what you should do. Just make sure you hit like, subscribe. I also have my other social media links down in the description below for other ways you can follow me. And you know, this was yet another fun project to do during my winter break, was just ranking all the jerseys, and I was able to find all the graphics that I used at Puck Marks just to keep things consistent. But it was just too bad that I didn't exactly work out as planned for me to use the other video editing software. Because what I wanted to do was I wanted to talk and have the graphics showing as I was talking, but I have to do it the way I do with the Windows Movie Maker. But it is what it is. It just didn't quite work out for me, and I didn't want to keep spending time trying to find a solution that apparently didn't work out for me. But it is what it is. So I'm going to say thanks for watching, and hopefully you enjoyed my home ranking jersey, and hopefully you'll be looking forward to looking at my reverse retro as well as my alternate jersey for this upcoming season, for the 2020-21 season. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.